They don't have a chair for Skeletor?
All right, so let's jump. Oh yeah, so let's jump on to the next subject, and it
Next
is
subject.
Kevin Conroy. Um,
R.I.P.
yeah, well, this gentleman died a few days ago at 66 of cancer, and I think it was bowel cancer, as far as I know. I think no, intestinal cancer. Sorry, and a lot of people have been saying it came as sudden. I agree. I felt it came out of the blue because I was watching him in something recently in an interview, but it turns out he had been battling this for a while. Now, for those who don't know, who don't live in the world that we're living in now, Kevin Conroy done the voice of the iconic Batman animated series.
Yes.
And some people go, it's a cartoon. No, it wasn't. It could actually be the greatest cartoon ever. And I'm a Superman fan, and I like the Superman, but the animation in general. But what he brought to that character, along with Mark Hamill as the Joker, what he
Yes.
brought to that character, that voice, is like iconic. And I'm telling you now, every Batman movie after the animated series basically are based on upon that character with the voice, the dark tone, everything. And they never really nailed it as good as he has. I mean, don't get me
Nope.
wrong, some of them have been great, but that animated series, if you've never watched it, I telling you, it's even if you don't like animation or cartoons,
And it has some of the best. It has the best score too. Danny Elfman.
well, Danielle, yeah, well, that's kind of off the Batman '89 and Returns thing. But as I said, like this guy, he'd been around for a long time and he had done many things. He'd been on many other voices, and he's got a Pacific dark voice. It's just like one off. You don't have voices like that. He also appeared on a few Warner Brothers TV shows recently. Recently, the last couple of years, I see him on The Flash, the TV show, a bit of a
Yeah.
cameo on it. But I was saddened to hear that he died because I'm a big fan of that animated series. I mean, I still think, arguably, but I still think it could actually be the best. And it's 30 years old now, and it still could be the best. Now, he continued to do the Batman voice throughout. He did movies like
Yeah.
animated,
He did animated movies.
and because he was the go-to guy, if they're doing a Batman, they always turn to him. Now he even did the games. Do you remember the
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum games?
Arkham
No, he didn't
Asylum.
do all of them, but he did most of them, and I've played one or two of them, and just to hearing his voice, it actually is that good that when you're playing, you hear him going Oracle or some shit like that. Yeah, you're like, damn, that guy, he was so good. And I was saddened to hear that he died the other day. I mean, what do you think, Davey?
Yeah. It was. It's very heartbreaking that we lost him, and it was a. From what I read, it was a very short battle with
Well,
cancer as
it
well too.
turned out it was longer than people knew. He was going for a while.
Oh,
It's
really?
been short,
Okay.
and they didn't tell anyone. Now, his husband, I didn't know he was actually out as. I mean, I knew him. I thought I knew quite a lot, but I didn't even know he was married, a gay man. I didn't even know that about him. But yeah, his
Yeah.
husband came out and said he was. It was actually quite a while. He'd been battling for a while. Probably kept the secret, but he didn't need.
Yeah.
I also want to say what I know is that he turned up to a lot of cons. Surprisingly, he loved going
Yeah.
to the Comic Cons and whatever. Even when he's not actually on the billing, he would turn up and just hand out his autograph without any payment or anything. He was very generous. He was loved. He just loved going to them, and he loved meeting the people who loved the animated series. So it seems like
And it's rare to see somebody do that too, because like I've been to a couple of conventions, and like you do see people just walking around. Like sometimes you see people just randomly just walking around, and you're just like, isn't that so and so, or isn't that so and so? Like it's crazy. Like when you
yeah,
really like think about it. But for him to just like willingly, like fans run up to him and he just signs their autographs, like that's a sign of love, because when you go to these conventions, you realize that a lot of these people are dollar watching, and they really out here trying to get money.
do we
And
know who?
huh?
Do we know who?
Oh, definitely. You want me to say it? Peter Weller, dude. Off top, like that
Okay.
was probably the greediest motherfucker I've ever met in my life. But that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, like I mean, all of them, all they get their money, And it's like, but there's certain when you sit down and have like, can you sit down and converse with them? Will they talk to you? Will they acknowledge you as a human being? Will they like, you know, will they treat you like a fan? Like some of them really treat you like a freaking customer. And to hear that he's like out here walking amongst the people, hanging out with the people, chatting with them, signing autographs, that just shows how much of a humane person he was. And honestly, when I used to watch the Batman movies, it used to mess me up. And the reason it used to mess me up is because I was expecting to hear his voice, because I always associated Batman with him because I watched the animated series. The animated series was my go-to thing.
The bar was set by him, and every movie, Christian Bale's and Ben Affleck's, and even the new what's his name recently, they all are mimicking, because you see before the animated series, you had
Robert Pattinson,
and Michael Keaton and all that, but once he came out, he set the bar, and that's what Batman was supposed to be, and everyone tried to mimic it in some way. Never nailed it as much. They've done good, but never nailed it like he did. And Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, actually did the voice of the Joker. So the relationship between them two on screen, like even the joke, even they're still trying to.
He was heartbroken about that.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was heartbroken about that.
Like, he was supposed to be a real, like, look, we always say that when someone dies, he was really nice. But going by it, while making this video, I was learning more about him and how, as I said, he'd turn up to cons and he would just sign and take pictures and hug people and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, how many people do you know? And you've been to a few cons, have actually, you're not just a dollar sign. They're there because they wanted to be. It was fun for them as it was fun for you, you know? And it's a big loss. And you know what? I really fancy watching his last. I'm not actually sure which one it is. His last actual voice acting on Batman. I might give it a watch soon. Might watch them all. That Batman TV.
I kind of want to rewatch. What was it called? The Phantom Menace?
No, Mask of the Phantom.
Mask of the Phantom. There you go. The Phantom Menace. What the hell? Star Wars.
Yeah. Mark Hamill-ish. But yeah, no, that was a good movie, by the way. But
no, it really was.
Don't care about animation, fair enough. But look, this is really it's all detective work. It's just, it looks like it's made in the 50s. You've got iconic voice, and and when you watch it and you hear his voice, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. And the people who do know his voice know what I'm talking about as well.
Exactly. Because he is Batman. Like, let's be honest here.
I can't
do it. Batman. He was responsible for honestly introducing a bunch of 90s kids to the character of Batman. You know, just like Adam West was in his era. He was responsible for shepherding in a whole new generation of people that love Batman. Hell, I got a bunch of Batman toys as a kid because of his Batman. Like he's the reason why I love Batman. Like Batman's one of my favorite DC characters, like hands down. Honestly, he's probably like one of the only DC characters I like. And that's one of the biggest reasons why, because I grew up with this TV show and it was everything to me, you know? Yeah. So RIP to that man.
I'm big loss. But my question is to you guys who are going to watch this later, what do you think? I mean, do you think that you're going to be able to watch a Batman animated cartoon after this without even thinking about him? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe as usual. And for the people in the comments, let's see what you got to say.
See you all soon, you royal boobs.
I can't wait.